The culture's gone crazy, media's gone mad, and reason has become repugnant. Here, we focus on facts and how to fight back. Tonight, we'll be talking about censorship, free speech, and more. We'll be diving deep into this topic, so buckle your seatbelts. It's no secret that the Democrats have been having a field day with censorship. They're having the time of their lives. Whether you're Jack Dorsey censoring conservatives on Twitter or continually targeting a Christian baker to force him to bake a cake with a message against his will, it seems like free speech is completely lost. Now, it isn't the conservative sensibility to censor liberals. We generally like listening and want to hear what the other side has to say. We like to know what they're saying because it helps us develop our own opinions. In fact, we like debate, we like discussion, and we don't mind having friends who disagree with us. In fact, in many ways, conservatives welcome those who differ from us because we know that we focus on facts. We aren't triggered every time someone disagrees with us. We're able to rationally disagree and still have a sense of respect. Everything isn't all about our feelings. We don't think the world revolves around us either. However, many leftists think differently. They think that because they have a perspective, everyone has to agree with them. It's not enough for people to tolerate their view. They expect others to accept and even celebrate it. And if you dare to disagree or merely exclude yourself from championing their view, they'll come after you. They'll get very angry and, if they can, silence you. Perhaps unfriend you or delete you, mute you, and so on, and that's just in social circles. But let's zoom out and look at what much more powerful people are doing. Democrats have a complete double standard when it comes to free speech. They want to force people into speech if it's speech that they agree with, but if it's speech that they don't agree with, they want it censored. Here's an example. Senator Elizabeth Warren believes that a Christian baker should be forced to speak, i.e., to design a cake for a gay couple or a trans person with a message that goes against the baker's religious beliefs. But at the same time, Elizabeth Warren believes companies like Facebook should be able to censor speech whenever they feel like it. There's an ironic marriage going on between big corporations and the Democrats. It's crazy that the Democrats act like they're for the little guy, but of course we know this isn't true. While conservatives speak up for the individual, Democrats support big corporations censoring you. That's right. When Trump was banned from Facebook, he claimed this was a free speech violation. But Democrat Adam Schiff stated, quote, "Facebook must ban him forever." And Elizabeth Warren stated, quote, "I'm glad that Donald Trump is not going to be on Facebook. Suits me." So when it suits the Democrats, they're for censorship. And when it doesn't suit them, they're for free speech. In other words, they argue that corporations can exercise their free speech and censor conservatives, but at the same time believe you should be forced to say what they want you to say, if you're the Christian baker, for example. So which is it? You can't have it both ways. If you do have it both ways, that makes you not just a hypocrite, but a party that's becoming tyrannical, literally controlling speech for your own gain. Whenever leftists want to defend their flip-flopping and intense censorship, they say the issue is really about something else. They say cake baking is about discrimination and Facebook censorship is about misinformation, and so they distract you from the free speech issue itself. As long as they can provide a reason for censoring your speech, it's okay. Now let's look at the issue of baking a cake, for example. Masterpiece Cake Shop in Colorado was asked to bake a custom cake with a message. They were willing to bake them a cake, but not that cake, which went against their religious beliefs. The left believes they should be forced to write the message. But why should a Jewish cake baker be forced to write Mein Kampf on a cake, or a black cake baker be forced to celebrate the Ku Klux Klan on a cake? This issue is not just about free speech, but forced speech. Forcing someone else to write a message they don't believe in is a step too far. If you want to write a message on your cake, that's different. But compelled speech, which is what the Democrats are in favor of, strips us of our religious freedom, values, and personal liberty. Even though this cake baker prevailed in the Supreme Court, the left is still after this cake baker with another lawsuit, this time trying to force him to make a pro-trans message on his cake. They never stop. And the left's goal is to send a message: comply or else. Say what we tell you to or else. On social media, leftist CEOs are censoring and banning conservatives on a whim. This started years ago, but has progressively gotten worse. Twitter took advantage of Trump being on the platform when he was there, But as soon as he was no longer convenient to them, they kicked him off. All of his presidential tweets, a piece of history, gone. The fact that a president's tweets, his literal words, as special as speeches and other historical documents, are just erased is ridiculous. Meanwhile, of course, all of Obama's tweets are up for people to see, his presidential tweets archived, and he's still tweeting on the platform today. So the left doesn't care about having a diversity of opinions or even respecting a former president. The left has one goal: censor, destroy. Why is the left in bed with big corporations while Republicans are more populist, speaking up for the people? Why is it that the left is allying with big corporations like Apple and American Airlines to carry out social programs free from constitutional and political lines imposed on the government? It's almost like government control isn't enough for the left. They need to control the private sector too. When Jen Psaki was asked about vaccine passports, she stated that it is, quote, not currently the role of the federal government, but noted that the administration hopes to see such a mandate from private companies. She said that there are, quote, private sector entities, universities, institutions that are starting to mandate, and that's an innovative step that they will take and should take. United Airlines has announced that their employees will be forced to get the vaccine by late October, according to AP News. The Biden administration wants all Americans vaccinated, but doesn't want to take the heat from issuing a government mandate. That wouldn't bode well for the midterms in 2022 or the presidential election in 2024. Not to mention, a federal vaccine could face constitutional challenges. With the Biden White House signaling to private companies that they should have vaccine passports, companies are listening. The CEO of Morgan Stanley, James Gorman, made clear that employees must get the vaccine to return to work, and if they didn't, they would, quote, face hard times if they tried to work from home. It's crazy how last year the Democrats were basically forcing us to work from home, and if you didn't have a job you could do from home, too bad for you. And they were saying this was because it's safest to isolate. Now they're saying if you work from home, you'll be punished. It's not safe. The Democrats have this all figured out. They cozy up to the big corporations and issue their leftist mandates. Meanwhile, lockdowns put small businesses out of business, only helping the big businesses. So it's a you scratch my back, I scratch your back deal. And it's working for them. And of course, if you put this on social media, your post may be deleted or fact-checked. Only recently has Facebook changed its policy to allow any discussion of COVID-19. The left argues that our First Amendment doesn't apply to companies because it only limits the government from limiting our speech. But when the government is in bed with these private companies run by leftists and forces our small businesses run by conservatives to close up shop, what do we do now? Our voices are already muffled, and if we don't fight back, soon they will be lost. The left knows that if they succeed in censoring us, they will have taken from us what's most important, our voice. But what they don't realize is they haven't succeeded in changing our values. Even though they've put a muzzle on us in a way, especially on someone like Trump, who is banned from almost every platform, they haven't succeeded in changing our minds about America, our policies, our values. We still believe what we believe. And for many, this censorship has only made people even more skeptical of the left and anything they try to push on us, good or bad. The left's draconian rules have opened people's eyes up even more and led more people to realize just how tyrannical the left really is. Just look at how many people in California vehemently hate Gavin Newsom, and most of those people are liberals themselves. Many see how conservatives are the advocates of liberty, the party of openness, the party of tolerance, the party of kindness and freedom. So many on the left don't just viciously attack, but cancel conservatives. And it's gotten to the point where they justify their censorship of conservatives. Far from bringing people over to their side, this has only made people more disgusted with the left. And if you aren't someone who is conservative yet, you are likely just disillusioned with politics in general and feel disappointed. All of this is frightening. What is happening to our country? The Biden presidency has produced a lackluster low in American morale, and many honestly just want to disengage. And I understand that. But here at Counterculture, we engage. We engage with the culture, we counter it, we fight back, we'll never back down. We can't stop speaking up for the truth. Here to join me today is conservative commentator Michael Knowles. He's the author of a new book that came out this summer, Speechless: Controlling Words, Controlling Minds. It's a fantastic book, bestseller, and Michael, he's a great guy. We've talked about all kinds of issues. He actually had me on his show in the fall to talk about pro-life and my last book, so I really am so excited to have him here on my show to discuss his book and free speech.